see if I can pull some of this up without cutting it first. Okay, cool. Oh gosh. Nope. I gotta cut some of that up. Let's see if this bad boy starts. Let's see if this 545 starts. Probably should have picked a lighter saw, but hey, we're gonna run it. Choke. Look at that. It's been since it's freezing. This is what my 562 doesn't do. By the way, I picked that saw up yesterday. See if that helps. For sure, I'm gonna lock this while I'm trying to get down here. This is when it's important to wear chaps. You're standing on a off-camber slope, tired, you can totally cut yourself. I should have brought my kids out here to help me on this one. I hauled some brush. This is still on. I'm gonna see if it starts up with a pull. So riddle me this. Basically cut a couple cookies with each one of these chains. So that's after it sat for a little bit. I'm gonna fast idle it. That saw sat and heat soaked, okay? This is my 545. This is the saw I purchased. This is the reason why I purchased my 562. I love this saw. I just wish it was 60 cc's because with what I'm doing here, I don't need 45 cc's. I would honestly rather probably run my ported 310. To be bluntly honest with you, it's lighter, nimbler. This saw is smoother for sure, but this saw kind of doesn't fit that well in my collection at this point because I have that 20-inch bar on that 562 and it's awesome. Only problem is the 562 is flaky. This is not a Husqvarna hate video, but that saw is deeply flawed. I really believe that saw is deeply flawed. This is auto-tune. It is a similar design. It's a similar design. I do not believe they executed well on that first gen 562. That's all that's to it. I went and got the saw yesterday, and guys, the saw didn't show any error codes. It's springtime. The shop is busy. It's been in there for, I don't know, probably a month. I haven't counted per se, but it's been in there 3-4 weeks. And I called them. What they've been doing is starting it up, letting it get hot, revving it, turning it off, starting it up, letting it idle for however long. It was my original gas in the tank. I probably sent it in there pretty full. It was 3/4 empty. They could not reproduce the issue. And here's the issue. The saw didn't throw any error codes, so the auto-tune was of zero benefit in this circumstance because, now this is the deal. Could it be that they simply do not know how to read? I know there's numbers associated with the high and low jet. Could it be that those are way out of whack and it's not throwing a code, but at the same time, it's tuning around a problem? It's possible. It is absolutely possible. I pulled the muffler off yesterday. Piston is slick as slick can be with oil. There's zero wear on it. It looks brand new from the exhaust side. I was worried that maybe I'd smoked it on that last, where I cut with a little bit of slightly dull chain. Yes, it's not optimal, but I don't think I damaged the saw. I do think, well, I'm going to share a little bit more on another video on that saw. I've got some ideas. I'm also about done with it, to be honest with you. That's all it's to it. So I'm going to go ahead and keep cleaning up here. I've been talking for a few minutes. Let's see how this 545 starts. Wasn't fast idled. Boy, it messes you up when you've been running some steel saws for a little bit and you're pushing up to turn it off. This all of a sudden doesn't feel as backwards, or the steel doesn't feel as backwards anymore. But again, it's just all that what you get used to. So regardless, this is the deal. That saw to me functions. That's all I can recommend. Go buy a 545 Mark II, or I don't know if I'd buy a 550, honestly. I know they run good. They certainly run good, but the reason why I bought a 545 over a 550 was because it's more mild. And I truly believe that that's why the 562 is so problematic. I think it's pushed to its limits. And that's why on the new saw, this is just my perspective, share your thoughts. That's why on the new saw it doesn't have a decomp anymore. My understanding is they lowered the compression. I think it has a dished piston. So they took compression out of the saw, which takes away the advantage of a 60cc saw. You may as well just run a 550 if they're any good now. I've heard the 550 Mark IIs are good. If it runs like this and it's as reliable as this, then I would do a 550 over a 562. That's just all it's to it. Now, I like running the 3/8 chain. I do. That's partially why I have it. I'm going to still continue to run that saw for a little bit. I'm not going to use it for cookie cuts, though. I almost feel as if the saw can't handle it. I think it can only handle, I think it can only handle a few cuts at a time. You got to let that thing actually cool down. But, you know, you could take you could take this saw and cut cookies through the whole tank, and I think it would perform totally fine. So again, tell me if I'm wrong. Is it just that the saw is pushed to its limits? I don't know. So I've got this down here cleaned up. I do have one more branch. I'll go ahead and cut this in half real quick and then drag it up to, I'm gonna run the 550, guys, because it's a reliable saw. That's why. And it's the one that's warmed up, ready to go right here. Put my work tunes back on. It's still playing. I'm not gonna fast idle it or anything because I don't need to. Look at that. Imagine that. The saw works like it's supposed to.
If you sense some sarcasm and some negativity, it is because this saw has actually become past frustrating to me. Many of you have stated that you would have just thrown it away or thrown it down and smashed it by now. I'm not that kind of person. However, you got to understand that this is a pro-level saw marketed as a saw that can handle the usage. So when I pay about $900 for a 60cc saw that doesn't do the basics very well, yeah, it cuts extremely well. But I think that this saw is an example of something a manufacturer didn't have quite right, and then they released it anyway. That's just my thoughts. That's where I'm at right now with it.
We're getting to the point where I probably just need another burn pile closer over here. So I'm done cleaning up on this side. It's kicking my butt. I know it might not look too steep, but it's steep. I'm gonna talk about that zip tie shortcoming on another video. For now, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of clean up, and I'm gonna get set up for my next. I think it's worthy of an entire episode by itself. So I've got a little bit of firewood here. Share with me what you think about why I might have an issue with the zip ties here. Keep in mind, I'm wanting quality to be the best.